As we wipe this off, you see the success we've had, the results we get here. Now, let's not get it twisted. Like, I use a lot of pressure when I'm wiping my hand right here. Using a lot of elbow grease. You're not gonna get it if you just barely come here and wipe it on. It's not gonna work. You gotta put a little bit of pressure, use a little bit of man, and get that thing done, and you'll have the little results like this. And that's a lot. Hey, what's up, guys? Back again today, Texas Premier Polishing. But today on Salinas, we're getting a lot of requests about how to maintain either your new forged wheels, your old forged wheels that'll be on your semi, or just ones that have been cut down by machine here recently. So I'm gonna give you kind of a how-to video, how to hand polish. I know it may sound simple, but there's little different things you can do to make your life easier. And then I'll give you one quick tip that you can use if you do have a buffing wheel at home and you're used to a buffing wheel. I'll give you a quick tip to make it even pop even more. Just something real easy for the new guys and something to help you maintain, especially when you're sitting at home right now through all this crisis. Just like always, tools of the trade. Let's start from left to right here. I got a bar of Max Red. I got our wheel rake to get our old burnt on compound off. I got a 10-inch Domat flannel wheel. Always run safety flanges. I got a variable speed buffer. I got some Pro 25 polish. I also have the Pro 50 eliminator. It's a mild acid to help clean off the wheel, make sure there's no dirt or any leftover grime. It also opens up the pores of aluminum, makes it softer and accept the polish a little bit better. Last thing from our previous videos, bottle of mineral spirits to help you, any compound you might have on there afterwards, up in the gaps of the wheels or anything like that, just to help you clean it off and make it a little bit easier. You're gonna roll into the shop, or you're gonna head outside your garage and do this by yourself. Either wash your truck down and then do this, but really doesn't matter. You can grab a bottle of Pro 50 Eliminator from Zephyr. It's a mild acid, it helps clean off the wheel. I don't like spraying it directly on the wheel. Some of them have painted faces, powder coated faces, and brush faces, so I spray directly on the rag and then take it over here and clean it. So basically saturate one, wipe everything down, let it air dry, wipe it off with another clean rag. Now this is a mild acid, so it's gonna do a lot of cleaning. It's gonna get all your road grime, it's gonna bust right through it and keep it clean. It's not a real heavy acid like you hear everyone talk about, so it's not gonna stain your wheel, but it'll definitely, when you use it, it'll bring back some of the old buffer trails here. You can see exactly. So there's a good polish underneath this wheel. This is simply to maintain it. This wheel was polished by us back at Lone Star Throwdown back in February. So we're a few months down the road. He's got a few washes. Now he's looking to get a hand polish on it and just get them touched up and looking right. All right, now you see the grime is off of here. It's a lot cleaner than it is here, but we still have some of the product here. We want to get it completely clean before we start applying some of this polish. We don't want any of the dirt or rocks or any of the small little stuff you can't see to mix with the polish as we wipe it in with a microfiber rag or buff it with a light wheel, and then I'll just add some more troubles. You end up having to sand it or cut it out by machine. But this is a simple way to get it clean, and everything you can find at www.zephyrpro40.com. All right, now remember guys, this wheel's not very bad. We've already cleaned it with Pro 50. So this front wheel, for example, we're gonna do all by hand application. We're gonna put Pro 25 on a microfiber rag, we'll buff it in by hand, and then we'll wipe it off. The back wheel's a little bit worse, so we'll do a little light application with hand polish, then we'll buff it off like you see some of the guys that do this every day. I do about that big of a spot there, then I rub it in. That way it doesn't drip around everywhere. Remember, you want your rag folded into fours. If you just have your rag sitting in one layer, the pressure of your fingers will push through and scratch your surface. So you want to try to keep your hand as flat as possible, and you're going to go with the grain. Now it's harder when you're doing the face of the wheel. Like this one's powder coated, so the face of the wheel is a little bit different with the design. You just kind of want to go with the flow of the design. But the barrel, you definitely want to go with the grain. Try to go here and then go back this way. You're going to start leaving some scratches and some stuff you won't be able to take out by hand. So what we're going to do is evenly apply it. With the Zephyr, all you just need to do is give it a little bit of pressure and buff it. So you see a little bit of a haze or until it starts to blacken up. You'll kind of see through that shine that you have already. Let it sit for just a little bit. Then you'll come out with another rag, fold it over in fours just like that one to keep it from scratching, and wipe it off. Now the reason why some of the guys use a buffer is because no matter how new your rags are and how clean they are, it just seems to get something in there to scratch your wheel. Freshly polished forged wheels are so sensitive you can look at them and polish them. I mean, and scratch them. So you got to be careful when you do it. So as good as your rags may be, you still may leave scratches behind. So some of the guys like to remove the hand polish by machine very lightly at low RPMs with a flannel wheel and some type of high luster compound like the Max Red. So now we just take a rag, fold it in fours, go back to our polish with the grain. You see how easy it is to come out. This is something you can do right after you wash your truck at home, just to keep this wheel. The more you do it, the more shiny it's going to get. See, it doesn't leave any scratches behind. It cleans it up real nice and adds a layer of protection, similar to ceramic coatings that'll leave just the water and everything to beat off. And if you do that when you wash your truck, every other time you wash your truck, your wheels will stay like this. You only need to see a good buffing machine maybe once a year. So this is a good way to keep your wheels maintained strictly by hand. And that's that. As we wipe this off, you see the success we've had and the results we get here. Now, let's not get it twisted. Like, I use a lot of pressure when I'm wiping my hand right here. Use a lot of elbow grease. You're not gonna get it if you just barely come here and wipe it on. It's not gonna work. You gotta put a little bit of pressure, use a little bit of man, and get that thing done, and you'll have the little results like this. And that's a lot easier than ever have to pulling the buffer out. But if you do have some stains that are harder to get off, like the ones we'll have on the back, they won't result to the buffer. And we're not going all the way through the cutting processes. We're just gonna skip through to the end where we give a little bit of pop and make it a little bit smoother than we did with the rag. All right, guys, now we move to the back wheel. Obviously, this wheel's in a little bit rough shape. Everything that we did on the front wheel, we're gonna do on the back. The only thing the difference is when we go to wipe off our polish at the end, we're gonna trade our towel for our buffer. So first things first, spray your Pro 50 on your rag, get it saturated, and get your wheel surface clean. Get all the contaminants off there. Similar to you guys, the ones that are doing paint correction and ceramic and everything, this is like your decon. You don't want to hit none of that polish or none of that stuff on there. This is like your prep wash. You don't want to mix none of that with all the good stuff that's mixed in with the polish. So just get all your grime and everything worked in. Here, just as a cleaner, this works well. The Pro 50 is good in several different applications, but just get all that off there. Remember, come back with a dry rag, clean everything off. It's not a heavy acid like you see at some of the truck wash. It's just a mild acid mixed with some good cleaners. So now that our surface is clean, we're going to do the exact same thing we did earlier and grab our Pro 25, put about the same size on there. Remember, your towel's folded over in fours. Make sure polish in there so it doesn't drip everywhere. Now I've got the truck jacked up here on this axle where we can spin it. Remember, I said we add a lot of elbow grease. That we're still going to apply this by hand and get it all saturated out, because when we buff this in, we're going to be buffing in this polish with that Domat flannel wheel and buffing all that goodness out of this polish into there. So it's really like we're going to do this twice. Once by hand like this, and we're going to leave it on there. And like you've seen in our previous videos, it'll be a cheat sheet to tell you exactly where you can go and exactly what spots you fit already. So just hit all that real nice. Get your edge, wipe down, and let that sit for a little bit. You don't want to sit it too long like you do on the regular hand polish. With a regular hand polish, you want it to dry up almost all the way because it's easier to get off. With this one, you can almost immediately go into it. Because now I take my rag and I'll spray a little bit of my mineral spirits on there like we've done before. Because the results we get with the mineral spirits mixed with the 25, it just helps the oils in here, helps break down your compound and stretches it. Because when you're using this Max Red, it is a coloring compound. You know what I mean? So the room for error is very little. You can cause burns and stuff. That's why we're going to do a very soft pad with a flannel at a very low RPM to kind of take the place of our hand as we're getting it off. Now that's all prepped and mixed, now we can get into the buffing stage. All right, now we've got our wheel hand polished, just like we did on the front. Instead of wiping it off, we're going to move to our buffer. So I got a variable speed DeWalt here. I've got it set at 1600 RPM, so I got to borrow the Max Red. Now, if you're using a different machine, such as a Makita, have it set between somewhere 2 and 3. Now, you've seen in previous videos to where some people go like this. Now, you notice we have the wheel spinning this way. So I'm going to show you a trick to get rid of all your buffing trails and to make this look just like it did when it came off the machine out of the factory before it was put in the box. So one way is easier. You can kind of practice it at first and try to get yourself into doing the more advanced technique as you get used to doing this. All right, now we got our safety flanges, a Domat flannel wheel, Max Red, and our rake. First things first, remember we're running 1600 RPMs. We're gonna rake our pad, make sure there's no old burnt compound on here. Get all the old stuff off there and get it ready. Now with this, you're not gonna use a lot of compound, you're just gonna put a little bit. Now don't just put it in the middle because you're gonna be shaping your pad in this wheel right here and it's gonna change. So you wanna have coverage from each side, that way if you hit it with a side, you'll have some compound on there. You just come here, go back and forth, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and that'll be good. Now the first way we do is just from this inner lip to this outer lip, and we'll come here. Now with our polish still on there, you can see exactly where you're at. So if I make my third pass right here, you can see exactly where I'm at. A little bit better finish than when we do it by hand. So now you can take this and go all the way and just keep walking it as you spin your wheel. But out in direct sunlight, you'll still see some of your hash marks in the little passes that you meet. Now polishing is all about hiding your last pass, so you'll have some hash marks, you just want it to all flow together. So remember, even though you might be taking it off in a big stroke, don't get ahead of yourself because you see all the compound coming off here. Still make your tight inch and a half passes and gradually work your grain of your wheel, and you should have some good success. Now what you'll see on this next part, a lot of the guys that do this every day, they're looking for a flawless finish, especially on these real sensitive forged wheels. So what I'm going to do is get this wheel spinning pretty good clockwise and get it going real fast. And then I'm going to put my buffer at a 45-degree angle like this, and I'm going to be buffing off nice and fast. You can keep your foot down here and control the speed of your wheel. So you've hit this about half and half of the wheel here. So if you look real closely, you'll see the old buffing trails from the other direction, the way it got done months ago. This is the way it looks when you put it on the jack and spin it clockwise and have your wheel at a 45-degree angle with the compound. Now you want to be a little bit careful when you get in here in this next part. That's why we pause. We want to look at your stem here. So when we do this, we're going to hold our grinder just like this. You're not moving the grinder. You really want to lock out your shoulders and your elbows and your arms and hold it still. Let the tires spin and do the work for you, just like these wheel polishing machines do. So as you get to the end of this and you come back around, I want you to just pop the trigger and go around it. If you lightly hit this stem, it's no problem. But if you were to hit that going wide open at 3,500 RPMs, you might see what happened. You might see, and let's hit that back at Lone Star on Josh Burnett's truck. It's kind of embarrassing. It sucks. You got to take a big wheel like this. If it's two-piece, you got to take it apart. It's just a hassle. So be careful, be careful, be careful. I appreciate you guys joining us on Salinas today. Join us with Zephyr Polishes. To give you kind of a quick tip, I hope it helped when you're at home with this pandemic that's going on. I hope all you guys are safe. I hope all your loved ones are safe. But if you have any questions at all on how to do this, if you're looking for more advanced tips, holler at people like myself, Gold Standard Finishing, Josh Rays and JDR the Peacock on Instagram. Holler at Zephyr themselves. We have people in-house that'll reach out to you or put you in contact with people like us. Hell, Salinas knows what's going on. He'll put you in charge with us and show you how to use the products. But simply reach out to us. Don't leave some of those questions unanswered. We got the knowledge. We're here to help you. So contact us at ZephyrPro40.com. Come see us. Call everybody. Email me, info@texaspolishing.com. We'll get you right. Definitely thank you for coming by. We'll see you next time on Salinas.